Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live match preview show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzy, and I'm your host for this evening. We return into the Champions League on match day two as Liverpool face Galatasaray in Istanbul. So expect to see fireworks or a bit of a fiery encounter going into this fixture. So during the show, we'll do a quick match preview, plus we'll analyze our opponents and present the predicted lineups of both teams and also our score predictions. So let's start with today. Actually, we had a press conference that took place earlier on today. Some very interesting points made by Hugo Ekitike and Arne Slot. So in regards to Ekitike, he was asked about Alexander Isak. No huge surprise there. In terms of Isak joining when maybe he wasn't expected to because Hugo Ekitike was the first sign that we made in terms of strikers. One of his quotes was that I can't see one club playing only one striker, so I think it's good that he's here. And he's also said that he's very happy to see him at the club, so he's someone that he can learn from as well. And in regards to playing together, he's also said, quote unquote, that is for the coach just to decide who plays. It's not to me. I played with two strikers before and one striker, so I can do a lot of things. So if we have to play together, I can do that. So that bodes well for the future, where if we need to have two strikers up top, Alexander Isak and Ekitike, for me, should be a strike force that could click, that could work together. There's even been some rumblings online that suggest that fans think Ekatike and Isak don't get along for whatever reason. I'm not sure where that narrative came from, but I saw the training footage earlier on today. They were having a chat amongst each other, smiling and having look like they were in good company with each other. So yeah, I'm not sure where that narrative came out. I think people are just trying to paint the picture when there's no issues at all between the two players there. And he was also asked, why he joined Liverpool, and it was quite obvious. Champions of England, great players with great history, so it was a great choice for him in the end. And a journalist asked him, why he's been so good to this season in terms of his shooting accuracy. This was quite interesting. He said he was more of a playmaker at Frankfurt for the first part of their season last season. That was mainly due to playing alongside Omar Mamouche, who of course joined Man City in January. So after that, he decided to be a bit more of a focal point for his team. So he started working on being more dangerous up top, and that's what he's trying to replicate in a Liverpool shirt as well. So for us, that's exciting because he's hit the ground running. Out of all of our signings, he's the one that's looked very, very promising. And it's good to have him back. I know of course, he picked up a silly red card last week. And was unfortunately punished with a one-match suspension, but he is back in contention to play in this fixture, so it should be good to see him. Whether he starts or not, we'll discuss that later in the show. And in terms of Arne Slot, the big talking point from this press conference came from the surprising news that Chiesa has not been selected for the squad. Now, of course, he has been added to the Champions League squad due to Leone's unfortunate incident last week, where he's been ruled out for the rest of the season. So everyone was expecting, Chiesa to be in the squad, let alone not just being a squad. We were all expecting him to start in this fixture due to great, recent cameos and performances in recent times. But Arne Slot confirmed today that unfortunately, Chiesa picked up a little niggle in the last game against Palace. He did train today, but unfortunately wasn't able to complete the session. So therefore, they decided not to select him for the squad, but they were also rested him, having one eye on that upcoming fixture against Chelsea later this weekend. And also in terms of the reaction from the defeat against Palace, I don't think we need to speak too much about that. But he did mention that a lot of chances were created against Palace, especially in the second half. But at the same time, Liverpool also conceded a lot of chances as well. So there's a lot of areas that need to be improved, and I think it's not just from an attacking point of view. Defensively, we've been very, very poor. Uh, I think it's more so that we've not defensive as a collective, but also there's a lot of errors that have been made from certain individuals. I'm not just pinpointing certain. I'm saying there have been a lot of individual errors in our play. Poor clearances from set pieces. So that's cost us where we've conceded a lot of goals in recent weeks. So hopefully, that can be addressed going into this fixture. And for me, it's a game where we have to really show up and showcase our capabilities because we haven't done in recent times, and I don't think we've really showcased what a quality side we are. I think we've shown traits, or we've shown sort of a warrior spirit to grind out results, but that's not the full picture in terms of what we offer as a team. We do play good football. We play with more heart, more effort, more energy, and that's something that's been lacking, in my opinion, in recent weeks. So hopefully that can be addressed in the coming weeks. Just got a few comments there before we move on to the next section. So that's a bit of Aussie. Hope you're well today. Yeah, that's I'm doing okay. I hope you are well as well. Um, and then we've got Amirali, big up. Oh, big up yourself, Amirali. Haven't seen you for some time. Hope you're doing well. I see your lineup there. So I will present him once I've done my lineup. Um, big up Dara says Grab, Konate, Jones, Kirkes. I will present my lineup very shortly. So uh, give me a few minutes and we'll get into the starting lineup very shortly. Before we do that, let's just quickly confirm the team news. Not a lot in terms of both teams, to be honest with you. Um, with regards to um, Galatasaray. Actually, before we do the teams, let's quickly analyze our opponents. So, in terms of league form, Galatasaray have been in supreme form. 7 wins out of 7, so 100% record. Just like Liverpool, unfortunately, before the Palace defeat. But they did suffer a huge defeat against Frankfurt, uh, who thrashed the Turkish side 5-1 in the opening day of the Champions League. So that could give Liverpool some hope going into this fixture, although that defeat was away from home. Speaking of home, it's going to be a fiery encounter at Rams Park. The atmosphere is going to be hostile, loud, and electric. So you're probably expected to see flares throughout the game before kickoff and during the game as well. So these kind of games, it's going to be hostile for the players and maybe even for the Liverpool fans when they visit there. But I'm excited about this one. It will show you know, what the players are made of. And I want to see how the team performs as well. And I feel like we need a reaction from the defeat over the weekend. I'm not saying we need to go and thrash Galatasaray, but we need to show better application in terms of how we play because we've lacked energy, especially in that middle of the park. I think that's been our weak area. And defensively, we've not done really well or defended as a collective. So a lot of improvements going forward. Now, in terms of the team news, Galatasaray will be assessing the fitness of Victor Osimhen after he made a return from an ankle injury in the last match. Whether he starts or not remains to be seen. In terms of Chiesa, in terms of Liverpool, as I mentioned about Chiesa, he's the only absentee as he suffered a slight knock in training today. So he's going to be rested for the Premier League fixture against Chelsea. And apparently, Alisson had a slight ankle issue during the Paris game, but um, he did complete training today. So I think maybe it was just something that happened during the game where he must have, turned his ankle. But he completed the game and he seemed to be fine. And he's also trained today from the video that I saw on the Liverpool channel today. So he should be in contention to play in this fixture. So uh, what we'll do now, we will present um, the predicted lineups. Actually, before we do, let's go through some of the comments. Um, let's go with. And Raleigh says 4-2-2 Salah versus double tens could be good, like City away last year for the Chelsea game on Saturday. That's interesting. I'm not sure if that is what Arne Slot will go with, but it's definitely an interesting take. Um, why are the Italian players we buy always so injury prone? I have no idea, honestly. Because even when you're looking at, a few years back, Aquilani joined the club injured, so that's maybe a slightly different scenario there. Barini, he was injury prone as well. So yeah, we've not had the best of lucks in regards to Italian players over the years. Um, Darcy, I was talking about the players that made massive mistakes. We're not highlighting the Palace game today. We're speaking about Galatasaray versus Liverpool. Um, Amirali says bench Kanate for tomorrow's game. I'm worried about Osimhen. And then I'll present your lineups before. Let me do mine first. Uh, they are cheap for a reason diluted. um, I wouldn't quite agree with that, but hey, here we go. So let's present the predicted lineups. Um, let's start with Galatasaray. So Galatasaray definitely have been busy in the transfer market. They've made some, big signings in terms of, the Turkish league. The first player is a goalkeeper that they signed. Um, who's definitely playing that I'm sure Liverpool fans will be aware of in some shape or form, because we were linked to him a couple of years ago. He's a goalkeeper from former goalkeeper, of course, now from Trabzonspor. Um, so he was linked to a move a few years ago. Very good shot stopper, um, but of course never made the move to Liverpool, and in the end has got his move to one of the heavyweights of the league in Galatasaray. Um, so let me bring him onto the team. So here is Uzcan Shakshir. Now, in terms of the formation, from what I've seen, in terms of the Turkish lineups recently, in terms of Galatasaray, they've played different formations. They've played 3-4-2-1, they've played 4-3-3, they've played 4-2-3-1. So they have switched it up depending on their opponents. I have a feeling that they're going to play 3-4-2-1. It's the formation they played over the weekend. And of course, with Crystal Palace beating us, playing a similar shape as well, and beating us, maybe this is the blueprint that they're going to use against us tomorrow. So I'm going to go with a 3-4-2-1 formation from Galatasaray. Now, in terms of the defenders, Singo will start on the right hand side. He's a player that they've signed with for huge money, around 30 odd million pounds from Monaco. And then you've got former um, Spurs defender in Davinson Sanchez. And then you've got Badakshi as well, who's going to play on the left hand side. If I can find him, where is he? Let's see. There he is. So there he is, left foot player. So he's going to play on that side. Um, in terms of the wing backs, I was going to say fullbacks, but there are more wing backs in this formation. It's going to be Salai, and it's going to be on the left hand side. It's going to be El Mali. So that's the player that are going to play there. And in terms of double pivot, I'm not entirely sure who's going to go because they have switched it around quite a bit. So you've got the likes of well-known players that have played in Premier League. So you've got the likes of Lamina, Torreira, Gundogan, who's just recently joined, and you've got Sara as well. So I'm going to go with Torreira, and I'm going to go with Lamina. I'm going to go with two defensive-minded players, which might surprise a few because I think many would expect Sara to play because he's probably one of their best players. But I think they might go for more of a defensive setup to start with, and then maybe bring him on in the second half. So that's the midfield four that I'm going with. And in terms of the attackers, I'm going to go with Leroy Sane, one of their summer signings, uh, on the right hand side. Where is he? There he is. And then I'm going to go for Yilmaz on the left hand side. Where is he? There he is. So that's the player that I'm going for. And up top is a toss of a coin between Icardi and Osimhen. I think they're gonna go with Icardi. Icardi's been very prolific. I think he's scored 5 and 7 so far this season. Um, I think fully fit you'd go for Osimhen, but he's just played 10 minutes in the last fixture over the weekend, so I don't expect him to start in this one. The coach did seem quite positive in terms of adding him to the squad, but I don't see him starting in this game. So this is my predicted lineup for Galatasaray. So drop a comment and let me know what you guys think. So let's move on and present the lineup for Liverpool. So let's start with the goalkeeper. So I'm going to go with Allison for this one. Some may go with Mamadashvili, but I think I'll stick with Alison Becker. after his fantastic performance against Palace. Although I know we were in the losing team, but from his point of view, he did have a good game as he was very, very active, which is not what you want to see from Allison. But that's how it goes sometimes. Now, in terms of the back four, I'm going to go with Ping Pong on that right hand side. I think it'd be good to rotate the players a bit now. Start with Frimpong in this one, and maybe have Conor Bradley in mind for the fixture against Chelsea this weekend. And with that same kind of thinking, I'm going to go with Robertson on that left hand side. And in the defense, Van Dijk, of course. Maybe shout for Joe Gomez. We don't have options, do we? Let's be honest. I don't really want to play Konate, but at the same time, I don't want to risk the injury or a possible injury of Joe Gomez. So I'm going to go with Konate, but that doesn't bode a lot of confidence for me because he's a player that is playing with very low confidence. And to play in that kind of environment, I think he might fold. I'm not trying to predict, any negativity to our team. Just based on what I've seen recently, he's not really oozing a lot of confidence right now. So I'm going to start him, but the two players in front in terms of the double pivot will need to try and work hard and protect him at times. So for this one, I'm going for Szoboszlai on the right side of the double pivot alongside Gravenberch for me. And then you've got Salah on the right hand side, expecting a better performance from Salah. He's been a bit hot and cold so far this season, so I'm hoping he does better in this one. I'm going for Florian Wirtz in his normal or natural number 10 position alongside Cody Gakpo on that left hand side. And up top, I'm going to start with Hugo Ekitike, someone I refer to as a young striker, but according to Dara's in the chat, doesn't refer to him as that kind of striker. But Arne Slot called him a young striker the other day. I call him a young striker. Dara doesn't. So that's an opinion from someone in the chat. But in terms of the reasoning, I think with Isak playing 84 minutes the other day, it was more than what was, I think, predicted or wanted by the club. So maybe this is the game to rest him and bring Ekitike back into the fold, and hopefully, with a bit of rest, obviously for not the right reason because he got suspended, but he should be fresh and ready in this fixture. So I'm going to go with Ekitike in this one. So yeah, feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you guys think. Um, Back to the chat. So let's go with Amirali, who presented his lineup early on. So he said Allison, Sobo, Gomez, Van Dijk, Robertson, Ravenberg, Jones, Vert, Salah, Isak, and Ekitike. I'd love to see that tomorrow. So you want to see Ekitike and Isak together? That's interesting. Whether or not it happens or not remains to be seen. Um, and then Daz, big up Daz, he said, Alisson, Ping Pong, Ibu, Virgil, Robbo, Dom, Ryan, Verts, Mo, Isak, and Cody, and 45. For 45, then Hugo Katike. So very similar to my team, but you've gone for Isak ahead of Hugo Ekitike. Um, Amirali says we should get Gay in January. He didn't even celebrate the last minute winner from Nketiah. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything to that in terms of him not celebrating, but I really hope so. I think it's a must. I don't think it's a debate. We have to sign him in January. We don't have any options. So, we're touching end of September right now. And I'm already concerned about our depth in defense. So yeah, it's something that must be addressed in the January window. That's I know you are not now, but you were when I posted the first names. Okay. Uh, Steve says they're gonna try and use their home crowd to force us to casino go 100%. That environment is going to be hostile. I've seen it over the years, and especially against English teams. Yeah, teams have struggled to get points from there. So they're going to do everything they can to try and rattle us. So we've got to stay calm and composed. But unfortunately, because we've just come off from a defeat, and certain players in our team, especially from our defensive sided players, they're not in best of confidence or best in form either. So that's why I'm a little bit concerned going into this one. But hopefully, we'll see how it goes. Toulouse Steve said we can't panic and concede in the first 15 minutes. Yeah, I do agree. Daryl's gone for Mama, Endo, and Jones as starters. I wouldn't rotate so heavy right now. Um, But who knows? Let's see. I wouldn't rotate very heavy going into this fixture. Do you see we're going to see Oz's favorite centre back on the bench? Is that Bastic? Is that who you're referring to? Gomez too. Yeah, I'm not risking Gomez at all. Um, oh, I think I know who this is referring to. You're referring to Reece Williams, aren't you? Bloody hell. Is he even in the squad? I need to double check that because if he is, that's wild. If he's in the squad. Um, still see that Isak was struggling physically. Yeah, you could tell that he wasn't quite fully match fit there. Um, so yeah, it's one of those ones where I think he played more minutes than planned, and therefore maybe it's time to just give him a bit of a breather. He'll definitely be on the bench. And he'll definitely get some game time. Um, but yeah, I don't expect him to start in this one. I think Ekatike will get the nod ahead of him in this fixture. That says, do you start Isak on Saturday then, Ozzy? Yes, I will start Isak on Saturday. Um, but look, if Hugo Coutinho scores a brace or something of that magnitude, then it's a different talking point. So we'll probably have to discuss that in the match preview. But on paper, at the minute, yes, that would be the plan to start one in this fixture and then play the other one on the following fixture. Dara says, Michael Owen was a young striker. Wayne Rooney was a young striker. You're not letting this go, Dara, are you? Arne Slot referred to Hugo Coutinho as a young striker. And if you don't know, Young Player of the Awards that we have in the Premier League is for under 23s. So Hugo Ekitike is under 23. So that classifies him as a young striker. These men aren't even young anymore. They're older than I am. So when they were broke into the team, yes, they were, teenage sensations. But unless you follow, French football, maybe Ekitike was a sensation when he broke into his team, which was Stade de Reims as well, because I heard of him before he made that move to Paris Saint-Germain. So gotta let it go, Dara. It's a very pointless discussion that we're having there. I refer to him as a young striker. Arne Slot, your coach, referred to him as a young striker. So yeah, just let it go. A bit of a silly conversation here. Delise Steve said man was gassed in the 56th minute. Yeah, he was. He was. So that was my thinking in terms of, maybe start Isak on the bench and then bring him on later in the game because we'll definitely need a bit more firepower. I think I'm expecting Galatasaray to play on the low block side or more defensive minded, but from what I've seen and what I've read as well, they're not a defensive minded team. They're very attack minded. So it's going to be interesting. That might help us, in that regards. Um, but yeah, it's going to be intriguing. Obviously, the I watched the highlights earlier on today, the Frankfurt and the Galatasaray fixture. Yeah, they were making a lot of errors themselves. They were split open. I think that's going to be the area that we need to try and capitalize is that middle of the park. And unfortunately, it hasn't been our forte in recent weeks. So it's one of those things where hopefully, we can stand up tall and literally, if it is a balls like ground, but they can use their physique, their energy, to their advantage and pretty much run the show in the center of midfield. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm, you know, envisioning into how it's going to pan out. Because you've got Lamina, who, to be fair, whenever we've faced him, whenever he's been at Southampton or Wolves, he's always looked good against us. So he's a very neat and tidy player. So maybe, if you look at their profile in terms of age, they're a bit on the older side, but they still have great technical ability. Torreira, he was known, what was he, known as the Bulldog or something along those lines, due to his sort of tenacious way of playing, being a hard, crunching, sort of tackling type of midfielder. Um, both of them, if they were the two midfielders that start together, they don't pose a threat in terms of their aerial or physical dominance. So that's something we need to exploit. We do have the likes of Sarah, who's a very, very talented midfielder. And we've also got Gundogan as well, who's, of course, experienced and knows how to play against a team like Liverpool, because of course, he's been very successful over the years with Man City. So it's an interesting headache for them to have. Um, but yeah, let's see, how this team is going to start with. But this is the kind of lineup that I'm expected to go with. Um, to really see if Mamadashvili can keep a clean sheet in Istanbul, would you start him at the bridge? No, I wouldn't start him at the bridge. Um, if he does start, it's more of a thinking of just rotating players, giving players an opportunity to play. I would still go with Allison as our number one, and I don't think he deserves to be dropped because he had a fantastic performance the other day. He's been decent so far this season. He is the number one goalkeeper in our team, so therefore, yeah, I don't think we need to switch it up in that way. Mamadashvili, if he gets a game tomorrow, it'll be good for him in terms of his sort of experience and development. But I wouldn't, switch him on just because someone's kept a clean sheet. Um, Drew Steve says, I still can't believe you gave Allison a 9 based on individual performance, nothing to do with the result. Because if that was the case, I'd give everyone ones. Certain players would even get a 1, they get a 0. So yeah, for me, that is not the case. Um, Dara still not letting it go, but I'm going to read out loud. I don't care what Slot said. He was always going to defend his player by calling him young and makes excuses. 17 is young, 23 is not. Silly conversation indeed. So why is the Young Player of the Award for players under 23? Explain that to me then. So are they not young? What are you talking about? You're talking nonsense now. There's a reason why it's a category for under 23s because they are still regarded as young players. Just because you've got superb talent like Michael Owen and Wayne Rooney, or in current times Lamine Yamal, doesn't mean everyone else is not young. Like, it's a silly conversation. So for me, if you're gonna keep talking like that, not even gonna bring your comments on screen because it's just getting silly now. This is something you've like brought up for the last week, and you're still not letting it go. So I'm not sure what your agenda is right now. It kind of ruins the flow of the show. So if you want to have proper discussions, feel free to get involved. Otherwise, I'm just going to blank your comments going forward. Um, Now, in terms of my score predictions, uh, I have to go with a win. I know we haven't, played well in recent times, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to the Reds. Just about. I don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet. I think they will score. I'm going to go with Leroy Sane as their goal scorer. And if I have to be honest, I think they might even score first. But I believe for Liverpool, it will be young striker Hugo Ekitike that will score the goal. And I'm hoping and praying Florian Wirtz uh, opens his goal scoring account for Liverpool. So that's what I'm envisioning, or that's what I'm wishing more than anything else. But that is my score prediction. Um, and that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Daz, thank you to Dara, even though some pointless comments there, but big up yourself anyway. Big up to Amirali, big up to Delulu Steve for your comments as always. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'm seeing a couple comments here. Um, Daz is going for 2-0 with Mo and Verts. It would be good to see Mo on the score sheet, to be fair. I think it will give him a bit more confidence going into the game against Chelsea. Um, but yeah, let's see. Let's see. Clean sheet. That would be great if we can keep a clean sheet against Galatasaray. And I know, Galatasaray, of course, the atmosphere does play a part because when you go to certain places, the team doesn't have to be they don't have to be a team of high quality, but the atmosphere can really, get the best out of certain players, and it can definitely have a negative effect on the away team. And we saw it. It was about 2, 3 years ago when we faced uh is it Red Star Belgrade? And yeah, we lost that game because of the atmosphere was crazy. Like, you can just see people getting violent on the inside of the stands, and yeah, very, very hostile. So for me, hopefully, the players don't fold in this one. That's my concern going into this one. I think on paper, Galatasaray actually have some good players. Leroy Sane, of course, we know him from Man City and had a good spell at Bayern as well. Icardi, you know, people might not like him for personal reasons, for his off-field nonsense, but in terms of as a striker, he's prolific. He's been prolific so far this season. Osimhen, the complete striker, in my opinion, a player that we were linked with. Someone did ask Arne Slot in the press conference if he was a target, but he didn't really answer that question. So maybe he lost track of what was being because he asked him like multiple questions. Maybe he lost track, but I thought he could have potentially have been a target for Liverpool. But I'm happy and I'm grateful that we've got Ekitike and Isak, who are two fantastic strikers in our squad. And in terms of Galatasaray, Gabriel Sara, the player I mentioned earlier on, he's a very, very talented player. So definitely one to look out for if you haven't seen him much. Um, they've got Yilmaz, the player that starts on the left hand side. They've also got Akgun as well, who is their captain, I believe. So they've got some talented players. So they're not going to be a team that we just walk past. But of course, that defeat against Frankfurt might be in the back of their minds, and they feel like they have to be more defensively aware going into this game. And of course, facing Liverpool, a heavyweight team from England, they might have to, think differently in terms of their strategy. So it's going to be an exciting fixture, nonetheless. Just go through some of the comments. Dulu Steve says in Istanbul, hospital crowd free. You mean hostel? I gathered that. Um, they sort of fire us for hours in the players' hotels. Is that what they've done today? Like, that does not surprise me one bit. Yeah, that a lot of teams do that too. I think we do it to certain teams as well, but it is what it is, I guess, in that regards. Double D, big up Double D. He says Ikai is still a top finisher. Yes, he is. 5-7, I believe, is his record right now. Um, he's prolific, and that's why with my predicted line, I don't think it would be right to drop him. I know if you compare him to Osimhen, most people would prefer Osimhen because he brings the more sort of the complete package, because he's more of a physical presence up top. So, and he was very prolific for them last season as well. But I think currently, if you go on form, you have to stick with the informed striker. So that's why I think Icardi will start in this one, and then you'll expect to see Osimhen in the second half. Um, Do Steve says they bring out the fan club drums. Yeah, they're loud over there. So looking forward to it. Um, yeah, I'm expecting fireworks, flares, all that kind of stuff roaming around the pitch. Um, yeah, it should be a good game. It should be a good game. So yeah, hopefully, not too much craziness happens on the pitch or even off the pitch, to be fair, because you do unfortunately see it whenever English sides go over to Turkey, especially Galatasaray, I think. There's always some sort of brawls happening in restaurants and pubs and all that sort of stuff. So I haven't seen anything online. So hopefully, Liverpool fans have been respectable and not been, looking for a fight or anything of that nature. So hopefully it's been done in an amicable way. But yeah, this should be a huge game for us tomorrow. And I want a reaction. I want us to go there, play with a bit more aggression, play with a bit more swagger, because we haven't really shown our true ability. We've many will say we've changed the way we've played a little bit in terms of how we start games and how we set up. I feel like it's just different personnel, so we're still trying to find the right balance. Uh, but with this current team, that we've got um Ekitike and Verts as the new signings, and think about the rest. How I haven't added Robertson. I think he will be important to have in this fixture because I'm not expecting their wide player, which is Sane. Ironically, of course, Sane causes havoc to many fullbacks, but I think he's going to be playing more as an inside forward rather than an out and out winger. So with Robertson, he should be able to stop him from, having influence in the team. But at the same time, we need his experience in this one because with Kerkez, he's been a bit of a hothead, and this environment will not match well if you have Kerkez playing alongside, our team, but obviously being around fans that are going to be hostile and all sorts. So I don't think that would be the right decision to start him. But on the other hand, it might be where Arne Slot wants to play him more consecutively, so he finds that rhythm and produces his true form. So only time will tell. But I don't think it's the right game to add Kirkes for this one. Lucy said we cannot concede first. We cannot, but unfortunately, I think we will. It's just one of those things. So yeah, I'm hoping we're not. I would love for us to get a clean sheet. I just don't see it happening. Maybe because of what how he performed defensively the other day. I just don't know if it's going to happen. So, um, but yeah, we'll see how the team set up. And speaking of the setup, Double D's lineup is Allison. He's gone for Bradley. He's gone for Gomez, Virgil, Robertson, Grab, Szoboszlai, Verts, Mo, Cody, and Hugo. So only slight tweak is the two positions in defense with Bradley ahead of Frimpong and Gomez for Gomez for Konate. Sorry. Do you know what the Gomez one? I can't have too many arguments because I do understand, and I believe Amirali mentioned it earlier on as well. But I, my fear is that if he plays and gets injured, what do we do? You know that's my, and I don't want us to start with Reece Williams, anytime soon. So that's like the worst case. That's the last resort you got to do. Um, but let's see what happens in regards to that. In terms of Bradley, it's a fair shout, and of course he only played half of the game the other day. Not due to poor performance. I thought he was okay in the first half, so he should be a bit more fit and ready for this one. His reasons for being substituted more of a tactical approach more than anything else. So um, yeah, but in terms of your lineup, yeah, it's not a bad shout to be fair. The Loose Leaf says we're going to see Reece Williams this season. Oz, it's going to happen on the cups, possibly. Like in terms of the Carabao Cups, it might be a viable option. Um, Ironically, we play Crystal Palace in the next round, so got to try and get some brownie points on top of them because it's two. We played them twice so far. I know it's not in the Premier League. We played in the Community Shield and in the Premier League, and we've lost twice, unfortunately. So got to get the upper hand. So yeah, hopefully Liverpool can make that happen. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Double D for your comments as well as Deluded Steve, Daz, Dara, um, Amirali, and I think that's it, isn't it? So I appreciate you guys as always. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now, in terms of upcoming shows, can't promise of a live watch along tomorrow, unfortunately. But if I am available and I can do it, then I'll be able to do one. But the best thing to do always is hit that notification bell so you know exactly what time my streams begin. But we'll be back on Wednesday where we can have a sort of a post-match reaction show. And if there's any other news circulating regarding Liverpool, we can discuss that on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we'll do a match preview of Chelsea versus Liverpool. And I'm hoping to do a watch along for that one this Saturday at 5:30 p.m. UK time. So yeah, should be an exciting fixture for us. Just got a few comments there before we close the show. Amirali said, big up for the stream. Good show. Big up yourself, Amirali. I hope you're well. Bruce D says, I want 3 points at the bridge. Don't care about the result in Istanbul. I hear that. But I feel like for confidence and momentum, you want to try and just get those wins under the belt. And it gives you just the right sort of attitude to have going into the next fixtures. If we lose against Galatasaray, touch wood, that doesn't happen. That's two defeats on the bounce. We're not really used to seeing that. Let's be quite brutally honest there. And we wouldn't be in high confidence going over to Chelsea because it's at Stamford Bridge as well. So I think get the 3 points there against Galatasaray, help with our Champions League campaign, and then going into this weekend, we can hopefully get one over Chelsea. Chelsea, of course, lost the other day to Brighton, so they're coming off from a defeat as well. They'll be playing Champions League. I think they're playing tomorrow. So yeah, let's see how they do. But for me, I think a win just changes the outlook, changes the morale of the squad. So hopefully they can do that tomorrow. And realizes to Steve, we should recall Lucas Stevenson for sentiment issues. You're saying ha ha. I've actually seen some rumors that could be a possibility that we could recall him sooner rather than later. So he can't rule it out. That's our Aussie Wins Premier League review show. So I'm not doing the Premier League review shows at the minute. They might come back in due course. But what I think this season I'm going to try and focus more on sort of Liverpool as a whole. So more so, Liverpool's Premier League performance, and we might do extra shows where I normally do match reactions on the day. Maybe I'll do an extra show the following day where maybe the emotions are a bit more down, and you can give more calculated opinions, and then we'll do like a post show reaction the next day. So just look out for upcoming shows. I do plan on doing some FC26 shows. I know you've enjoyed that in the past, so that's coming as well. So maybe during the international break, which unfortunately is happening next week, I believe, isn't it? So 2 weeks without Premier League football. So yeah, maybe we'll do some content next week. Amirali says Reece Williams. I haven't heard that name in a while. Yeah, it brought to my attention last week. So yeah, unfortunately, he's still around. Delicious says FFS Lucas Stevenson. Yeah. Um, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't very impressed with him in preseason. So yeah, not the player that I'd want. Might as well call up Amara Nalo. Uh, Nalo's a player of potential, but I remember him playing. Was it against Plymouth that he came on and then he got sent off as well? So yeah, I'm not. Unfortunately, he's just not ready yet. So we're in a bit of a sticky situation right now. Let's not kill ourselves. So we've got to pray that we're injury free when it comes to centre backs. Uh, this coming months, and then hopefully in January Liverpool can address that area. Has to be done. I'll go far as saying we need to sign two centre backs, but that's me just being greedy now, isn't it? But one has to be done. Um, so yeah, let's see what Liverpool do in the coming months. How's Willie Lucky been? I haven't seen much of the youth action, unfortunately, so definitely gonna have to look out for them now because we don't have a lot of centre back options. So we'll have to definitely keep an eye on the young players that we have. Maybe they'll have to be brought in as short-term fixes for the next few months. So, let's see how it goes. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to speak with you all either tomorrow or Wednesday. So take care. See you soon, guys. Goodbye.